I'm sure you've probably heard that the Nashville real estate market is on fire, but what is happening? And if you're thinking about moving here, what should you expect when it comes to trying to buy in the Middle Tennessee area? All of this and more coming up in today's video. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin Martin and I am a local Nashville real estate agent, and I specialize in helping out-of-staters relocate to the Middle Tennessee area. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, thank you so much. Please feel free to click subscribe down below so that you are notified every time that I release new video content. So today we are going to be talking about the current state of the Nashville real estate market. Our stats for March of 2021 just came out, and so we're gonna take a look at that and what you need to know if you are thinking about buying here. So if you're wondering what is happening, yes, we are on fire. You've probably heard that a million times, but what does that mean and what does the reality of it actually look like? So in the last 3 weeks, now this video is for April of 2021, so since about the middle of March to now, we have seen an even more dramatic increase in what's happening in our real estate market. So let's first take a look at the numbers from March, and then let's talk about what's happening right now. So if you're actually looking at home sales in March of 2020 versus March of 2021, home sales were up 13%. Now that is something you've got to remember. March of 2020, that's when our real estate market kind of hit pause right there in the middle when, you know, the onset of the pandemic happened. People kind of pressed pause, pulled their homes off the market because they weren't quite sure what was going to happen. You had buyers who put pause on the buying process because they weren't sure if this was going to be like another housing crash. So all things considered, we're up 13%. But then if you look at the first quarter of 2020 versus the first quarter of 2021, home sales were still up a total of 6%. So that shows you that even though we did kind of have that pause that happened in March of 2020, we are still on a roll. We are still trekking. Home sales are up. Now, you know, it's good news that we are seeing, you know, this continued increase in the people that are wanting to move here. However, we are still dealing with really, really low inventory. So when you actually look at the inventory, if you look at inventory from March of 2020 versus March of 2021, in March of 2020, we had just around 9,700 homes on the market. And right now we have right around 4,500. So we are nearly in half. We need more homes on the market just to even try to keep up with the demand that we are seeing from buyers. So what does the reality look like right now in terms of what is it like if you're trying to buy in this market? So like I said, in the last 3 weeks, we have seen this insane increase in the market. So I know in previous videos from this year alone, I've talked about how you need to budget between $5,000 to $25,000, maybe even $30,000 or $35,000 over ask price. And unfortunately right now, that is kind of getting blown to pieces. So in the last 3 weeks, we have just, with this increased demand that we are seeing and this real big push, you know, we are in the traditional hot spring selling season. And so we are actually starting to see, unfortunately, homes go even above that. So especially in Franklin, if you want to look at Franklin in particular, you're in Franklin, homes that are coming on the market, it's insane. And I don't know that that's always the best thing to say because I'm not trying to deter anyone from moving here, because if you want to be here and you love it, come on. You just have to understand right now it is really tough. So don't even think about list price. Don't even think about 5, 10, or 15 over, because that's just not going to cut it anymore. We have actually, unfortunately, seen some homes go for anywhere between 60 and 100 grand over asking, which kind of puts us in the realm of what happens in California, which, you know, I know that this makes it hard if you are somebody that does not have a lot of cash on hand to be able to cover in a gap between a potential appraisal price. If you are financing, this can be really, really tough right now. You know, again, I say unfortunately because I'm not thrilled that we are seeing things go this far and above over list price, because again, you have to think like long-term future. You know, if you're getting here and you're only going to be here for maybe a few years, maybe you decide in a few years that you want to go somewhere else and you go to sell, are you going to get that extra 100 grand out of the home that you know, purchased it for? I don't know. Nashville, Franklin in general, you're going to hold good value in the home just for a series of reasons, including, you know, the safety of the area, the school zones that it's zoned for, the low crime, the good local job economy. So you have a lot of things working for you. It's just, again, you know, it's trying to deal with that appraisal piece can be really, really tough right now. And so again, it is something that we have started to see. We've also seen where homes are not even getting the chance to go active on the market. So there's been a couple instances where it is listed as coming soon and they're not starting showings for a few days, but the agent says, hey, the seller is, you know, potentially reserving the right to accept an offer prior to it going active. And sure enough, in a few instances, I've seen this happen where the home goes before it goes active on the market. And then in one case in particular, the home went 100 grand over asking, all cash, and closed in 8 days. So these are just things that we are starting to see. I know that this can be tough to hear, especially again, if you're not somebody that has a ton of cash on hand to start covering, you know, just to throw all of the money at a home. But I wanna be honest and realistic of what to expect. This market right now for buyers is not for the faint of heart. It's most likely gonna take a few tries before you land the home. And it's just a matter of how can you create a full, well-rounded offer. In addition to the purchase price, what else can you do to build those offers to win out? Because it's not to say that you can't win out. And I have had buyers win out. It's just, you really do have to prepare yourself, realize that it's going to be tough, but you just have to persevere right now in this market. And people are now starting to ask me, okay, well, do you see this slowing down? What do you predict? And I'm always gonna tell people I don't have a crystal ball, but some of the reasons that I'm hearing why people are moving here, those reasons are not going to just necessarily go away, right? So I know that people are telling me like, hey, there's certain laws that are passed where I live that I don't feel safe with, or I like the fact that you guys have low property taxes and no state income tax. Well, guess what? If the taxes continue to rise in these places where people are, and Tennessee maintains lower property taxes, no state income tax, you know, and it's providing these people, you know, more sense of comfort and safety than where they are, then pandemic or not, that I don't really see that, you know, potentially slowing down just because, you know, say the pandemic ends. So it's something to just kind of consider. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you that, hey, in 3 months, everything's gonna slow down, it's gonna be great. At some point, our market will correct. It has to like become more balanced and normal at a certain point. I just don't know exactly when that is, because again, the reasons that I'm hearing that people are moving here and wanting to be here, those reasons aren't really going to be changing anytime soon. Let's take a look and compare the stats from the February 2021 data to the March 2021 data. So I know that in my last market update, I had talked about the average sales price of Franklin was in the $800,000 range. Now, if you take a look at what the average sales price was in March of 2021, the average sales price in Franklin was $931,681. So you can kind of tell Franklin is highly in demand right now. That is where we are seeing homes go exceedingly over list price. And just the jump between February to March shows that difference in what's happening in Franklin. Now let's take a look in Brentwood. I know in my last video update, we talked about the average sales price in Brentwood being around the $1.2 million range. Now, if you look at the average sales price in Brentwood in March of 2021, the average sales price was $879,800. $861. Now, that's not to say that home prices are decreasing in Brentwood. That's not what we are seeing in overall. In fact, if you're looking at the average of the percentage of list price, all homes are going over asking. But basically, don't think that this means that prices are decreasing or there's a drop off in Brentwood. It's just the availability of what was on the market, and the average sales price of what was on the market is going to be sitting in that $800,000 range for March of 2021. And then if you look at Nolensville is holding pretty steady from what it was in February 2021, but the average sales price in March of 2021 in Nolensville was $629,831. So if you're looking at the average of days on market and you're looking at the percentage of list price, so average days on market, you'll see it tends to be a little bit longer, but again, those are maybe the few outlying homes that are sitting on the market. They may be run down for whatever reason, they may not be selling. And so those are gonna pull down the average days on market, but really and truly what we're seeing, you're getting maybe 3 days tops. If an agent lists a home, say on a Friday, they're taking all offers by Sunday or Monday, and then the property's gone. Sometimes the agent isn't even giving a deadline and the property could be gone within 24 hours. So this is just something to know. It's moving very, very, very quickly. You have to be ready to like battle. And in terms of, I've had a couple of people ask me, well, can we just go in at list price? You can, but your offer is pretty much already dead in the water before you you even really get to the table. And so again, if you're looking in Franklin specifically, plan to go exceedingly over that idea of going between 5 to 35, maybe even 40. At this point, even that is not gonna cut it, which is, it is what it is right now. So these are just some things to keep in mind. Again, if you are thinking about moving here, if you are thinking about buying here, please don't let this deter you. This is what's happening in the Franklin area. There are other parts of town where yes, there is still that higher demand, but we're not seeing it get as quite out of hand as what it is in Franklin at the moment. But just do be prepared. Be prepared to always assume you're gonna walk into a multiple offer situation. Prepare your hearts. Like I said, this is not for the faint of heart. Just realize it may not happen on the first or second or even third try, but it is going to happen. You just have to keep persevering and you will end up with the home that is meant for you. If you have any questions about what's happening in the market, what can you do to be more competitive and successful in this market, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. All of my contact information is below. I'm Caitlin Martin. I'll see you next time.